now it's time to set up our irrigation system. So I took the bag that was in our kit, I filled it up with water. Right now I have my moisture sensor just sitting in the water. We're going to be using that kind of test our waterproofing system. I have my pump out. You notice that my greenhouse is actually tipped up, keeping my water away from my electronics while I'm doing this. Inside the watering kit contents, you have some clear hose. This flexible clear hose is going to be used as a transmission line that's going to get water from our pump through our greenhouse to our actual, we're going to be growing in our bed. We're going to be creating a kind of a rigid watering system that looks like this, okay? To do that, we have some elbows, we have 3 T's, and then 4 90s. We have some rigid blue 1/4-inch tubing, and then we have a couple of sleeves that are going to help, or different tubes that are going to act as sleeves that are going to help us mate all these parts together. So let's first get started with building this rigid system here, okay? You can see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 short lengths. These short lengths are going to be 2 inches. And then I have this longer length here that we're actually going to measure to get to the perfect length when we need them. We have 2 of those. So let's go ahead and start by laying out our tape measure. Okay. And we're going to be marking every 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get 1 2-inch section cut. So I'm just going to take this, mark at 2. Okay, and it's kind of hard to do by yourself to lay it out and to mark. So what I'm going to do is just do every 2 inches. I'm going to cut this. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut that. It's 2 inches. Just want to triple check my measurement. Yep. Okay, and then I could just use this as a guide to cut every 2 inches. All right, now I can take my tape measure and I can measure this, or I'm just going to use it as a guide and cut every 2 inches. I said we need 6 of those. So this blue pipe is a rigid pipe. So when we cut it, we want to make sure that the edges are clean. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 1 more to get 6. Okay, so now I have my 6 here. So in order to get the shape that we have here, this is going to be our supply. So that's going to be a T. So I'm going to start with that first. So these do take a little bit of force to put on. That's the intention behind it. So it stays on. It's a friction fit. I'm going to do another 2-inch on the side. Okay, twisting them as you put on definitely helps. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my, or continue with my 2 90s here. So I'm going to go 90 here. All right, then I'll do a 90 on this side. We're looking good so far. Then we're going to do another 2-inch. Now we'll do our other 2-inch here. All right, so here we are so far. Now we're going to do a T. So we're going to have a divider here. The reason that we're doing this is to have as much water irrigating our plants as possible, or as much surface area as possible. I shouldn't say as much water, but as much surface area. All right, and then I'm going to do my other last 2-inch ones. All right, we're looking good so far. And now we're just going to end with our 90s. And we're going to custom cut those lengths. Put the last one on here. All right, now we can actually measure these. Get an accurate measurement. So taking my tape, holding it up, it's going to be about 4 3/4 inches. Or if you don't have a tape, just go ahead and line it up inside there. All right, lay it flat where it needs to be, and cut there. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the center partition. Line it up, cut it. Now your kit will come with probably a little bit extra hose. I do this intentionally in case you mismeasure along the way and you need another piece cut. There's not that much there, but there's enough if you did screw it up and you need to recut it, recut one of these. All right. Now our next step is we're going to take our push pin that came with our kit, all right, and we're going to puncture holes in here. These holes, as I puncture them in, I ream it out because this is going to be called drip irrigation. So if I just puncture the hole and don't ream it, I'm not going to get as much water flow. So the more water flow you want, the more holes you're going to have. I'm going about about 3/4 of an inch. You can measure it if you want or eyeball it. You can go a 1/2 inch. This is really where the experimentation with what your system comes into place. So you're going to be experimenting with water flow and the time duration that you actually either keep your plants wet, or if you're using your moisture sensor to actually map those values, you can use that as well. There's two ways that you guys can water your plants. One is, on a time cycle, like let's say every 20 hours your pump is on for 2 minutes, or you can use your moisture sensor based on the moisture value. These are two systems, two types of automated systems, one that uses time and then one that uses the sensor as feedback. If you don't use the sensor as feedback and you just do time, you're not doing anything wrong. Whichever system you find more reliable. The moisture sensor will be in your soil so you can see what your moisture content is, so it is giving you some sort of feedback. You don't have to use it always for an input system. So I recommend, if you're starting this, use a time relay, or a time setting, just like we're doing with our LED lights, the 12-hour on, 12-hour off. I would recommend you starting with the pump on for a duration. So now I punctured all these holes. Now I'm going to work on getting all my connections sleeved. So inside the kit were 2 1-inch hoses. This is what your kit looked like. You had 2 1-inch smaller diameters and then 1 larger diameter. This 1 larger diameter is going to go in your pump. The smaller 1-inch is going to go here. Okay. And you're going to connect this through this hole, through this hose, through that hole. Then you're going to connect it here. And you're going to press this in as tight as you can get it. All right. Then this one is going to go on your pump. Then you're going to take that other one. You're going to sleeve it in here. And this one's going to go here. Now we just created a real easy way to get our pump to the right diameter, okay, for the flow that we want. Okay, now I'm going to put this in here. This is my reservoir of water. And to check my system, I'm just going to use this clear lid. I want to flip it over so that the water is going to be coming out. And I'm going to take my pump out, and we can see here, it comes out pretty good. Okay, so that's a lot of water coming out. All right, so a couple things I want to talk about here is, one, that amount of water would have saturated your plants pretty quick. So this is a cool way to see how long it's going to take to saturate them. So I would say keeping that pump on for like 2 to 3 seconds would be ideal. You're gonna have to see, of course, when you actually get your plants in there. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is take this, out and empty it, because now I'm going to get my soil set up in my plants.